Okay, welcome to the Guitar Show. Today we're going to be talking about tuners, machine heads. Yes, it's got to that stage where there's been a video done on every single aspect of the guitar, that all we've got left is to talk about machine heads. Yes, that's right. But these are interesting ones. Let me tell you about a story. When I was young, my first two heroes were Stevie Ray Vaughan and Robben Ford. Those two guys for me, that's what although I'd kind of come originally from Peter Green and Jimi Hendrix and Eric Clapton, it wasn't until I was like 18 I discovered Robben Ford and Stevie Ray Vaughan that, that's what I wanted to be. I wanted to be a guitarist because of those guys, and Peter Green as well. Anyway, I eventually got a Fender Robben Ford guitar, and it came with these really nice tuners, and we're going to talk about these tuners today. Let me show you them. Here they are on my Stratocaster. Let's see if we can get a zoom in on that. Now, these first came into production made in Germany by a company called Schaller, and these appeared on a few different models that Fender made. Okay, can you see they're branded Fender? So Schaller never released these under the Schaller name. They only ever released these with a Fender. So they obviously made them, shipped them to Fender. Fender put them on to the Fender Elite Stratocaster. They put the silver, the chrome version with the chrome heads, and they also this gold version with ebony heads, which I have on another Stratocaster, was released on the Robben Ford models, the Fender Robben Ford guitar, or the Fender Esprit, which was part of the Master Series set of guitars, and also the Fender D'Acquisto model, which was D'Acquisto, the great jazz archtop guitar designer, designed some guitars for Fender, and they put these tuners on. So in the early 80s, around about 80, maybe 82, 83, Schaller shipped a load of these to Fender to put on these Master Series guitar and also the Elite Series Stratocaster. Okay, so when I grew up listening to a lot to Robben Ford and Stevie Ray Vaughan, especially Robben Ford, I had this Robben Ford guitar. I wanted to get these tuners and put them on all my Strats and Tellys. Obviously, as well, Stevie Ray Vaughan had these on his number one. Now, René Martinez, his guitar tech, basically changed all the old chrome hardware on Stevie Ray Vaughan's number one to gold, and that included these tuners here. They're kind of difficult, a little bit difficult to put into a Fender because you've got to drill a bigger hole for the shaft to fit through, and also there's two little pins that also need to be put. I'll put these, this is the only set I've installed myself, and you can see that this tuner here is actually not in line. It's kind of jagged upwards, but that's because I'm not very good at doing this sort of stuff. So I love these because the gear ratio is really good. You can really fine tune these. You don't have to, like on some Clousons on a Les Paul, you have to go forward and then back and all that stuff. No, these are really accurate. Also, they have, if you can see here, they have a hole, so you're doing the string through, tie knot against itself, and then that's how I kind of generally tune these. And if I'm touring, if I'm flying out, like I've got a gig in Germany next month, fly out with my band, I can only take one guitar with me. I've got to play slide, I've got to play normal guitar on that. I need a tuner that's going to be really accurate, and if I do break a string, heaven forbid, if I do break a string, I can just slip it out, pop the new one in. It's really easily. Okay, they're not locking, but I've never played the locking tuners. It's just not my world. So this for me is kind of an upgraded version of the original, where you put the string through the top, which is, I don't really like those tuners, and I do a lot of tuning in my band. All the time I'm tuning different tunings, so it really works for me having these tuners. Let me show you another example. So on my Telecaster here, we've got some of these ones. Now these are even rarer. The gold ones are pretty rare. These are like almost impossible to find, but they're really beautiful. So these ones are the chrome set. Again, Fender is on here, and these were the ones that were actually used on the Elite, and also the Fender Flame, and I think the Fender Esprit model as well. They used to come with chrome heads as well. But around just recently, I've noticed that Fender Custom Shop have been using these for the Mel Haggard, or I can't pronounce his name, the Mel Haggard custom shop Fender Telecaster, and I think possibly maybe the James Burton Telecaster came with these, and I'm not sure, but they put the pearl buttons on instead. So my guess is that Fender has stockpiled lots of these chrome ones and the gold ones in the Fender factory, and they bring them out onto the custom shop models. So that's why they're quite hard to get hold of. Some people on the internet forums are saying that these were made in the Far East and Germany. No, that's wrong. They're all made in Germany. There's only one type you can get. There was an early edition and a second edition I've noticed, where some of the pearl heads were almost clear. So on the SRV Number 1 model, they're quite clear. They're see-through almost. But these are kind of more misty. Now you can buy these straight from Schaller. So if you go to the Schaller Germany website, you can actually swap these out. There's a screw here. I don't know if you can see this. There's a screw on the end of the machine head, and you can just literally take that head of the machine head out and replace it. So on my other Stratocaster, my Maple Neck Strat, it's actually getting a refret on it now here in London, and it has the ebony buttons on it, you know. So it's a really nice, it's got gold and ebony, and it's a really nice combination. So that's kind of really why I use these tuners, because they're very reliable. And I first got used to them with the Fender Robin Ford model, you know, that's what they came on. I'm actually even thinking if I can ever find these again, I'm thinking about putting them even on my Les Paul, because I really do love the way they feel and the accuracy. You know, like I said, I'm tuning a lot all the time on stage. Different songs, I write in different tunings, I'm using capos, etc. So even, as you know, when you put a capo on, you've got to tune, because the capo is putting the strings out of tune. So it's really important to have good tuners. Also, another thing is with these tuners, let's show you the other guitar. These will, to what degree, and to what degree you're bothered about it, these will actually affect the guitar tone. It's almost like, if you've got the originals, which don't really weigh that much, these are quite heavier than the original tuners. It would be like clamping a bit of metal onto your headstock. You know, will that affect the tone? I don't really know myself. I would have thought it would have added more mass onto the headstock, and therefore it would maybe create a tiny bit more sustain. Who knows? You know, jury's out on that. But yeah, having these tuners will affect the tone somewhat. So most of my guitars, most of my Strats and Tellies, I've replaced now with these great tuners. And you know, if you ever see a set of these, I highly recommend try some out. You know, if you can get them for a good price, 100%, they're really, really good. My favourite tuners by far. You know, and that's why I think it was worthy to do a video on this. So yeah, thanks for checking out the video, and let me know if you've got any other things you want to be looking at. But those are the tuners that SRV used on his Number 1. And also, didn't mention, but John Mayer, who I'm not really, you know, I'm not a John Mayer fan. I like his music, he's a great guitar player. I don't really know much about him, but I do know that he's using these on one of his guitars. I think he's got a black Stratocaster, and he's using the same model, you know, again, because of his, SRV's influence. So, you know, if they're good enough for Steve Ray Vaughan, they're good enough for me, and they should be good enough for you as well. So try and get hold of some if you can. Thanks very much for checking out this video. If there's anything else you want to talk about, ping me a message down below. Anything in the world, it could be even something not really guitar related, we can do a video on that. Thanks for checking out all these videos on this channel. You guys are stars, and hope to see you at one of my gigs soon, see you on the road. If not, you know, send us a message, keep in touch. All the best, take care.